What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Avengers Endgame or Avengers 4. So let's get into the video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the content. We are giving away an Endgame ticket. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel and let me know down below what is going on in Endgame. We will be announcing the winner towards the end of next week. So bam, straight away, the opening scenes for Avengers Endgame has leaked. This is expected. So basically what happened is Marvel screened the first 8 to 10 minutes of the movie, essentially, and you know it's going to leak online. It's kind of like last year when they did the 20 minutes at the fan screenings and literally everything leaked online. So we're going to break it down. I mean, a lot of it is kind of obvious, but there's some parts that we weren't expecting, which is cool. But then just because things happen at the start of the movie, it's a 3-hour movie, so getting to find out the first 10 minutes of a movie doesn't really tell us an awful lot. So apparently there is 22 days between Infinity War and Avengers 4, but really, Marvel, really? Based on how long Black Widow's hair has changed, etc., the color's grown out, damn guys, you really don't know how hair grows. Really, in 22 days, your hair would not grow that much unless you had extensions or a wig put in. So yeah, I think Marvel did a oopsie. So essentially, there's 22 days. Interesting. So when Tony records his extremely sad message for Pepper, which appears to be more or less the opening scene of the movie, he mentions that he and Nebula have been stranded for 22 days. He also mentions that the oxygen will run out the following morning, given that both he and Nebula will eventually make it back to Earth, judging by the other glimpse we've seen in the other trailers. So like I said, this does not confirm or deny. In fact, I'm thinking more that Tony Stark will actually die. This is courtesy of GameSpot, so full credit to GameSpot. If they are wrong, they're wrong, but we just report the stories, as sadly we weren't invited to go watch this for ourselves. And obviously, I don't understand how this has come online, but it's online. I will leave the link in the description box. So, Nebula helped heal Tony's wounds from the battle with Thanos. Tony suffered major wounds during a battle with Thanos that at the end of Avengers Infinity War, which is kind of interesting because if said wound had an infection or something, 22 days, like if it got infected, he would pretty much die. So it also goes on to say Nebula apparently has some super skill at healing, as Tony remarks in his message to Pepper that despite contracting some kind of infection following the battle, he quickly recovered thanks to Nebula's help, which is kind of weird because it's just weird because she's not a doctor. Like, what skills has she got inside her robotics or something like that? But it is interesting, and it does kind of hint that maybe he could die still, because this movie isn't going to start the way most people think it is. So the third thing is they've repaired the ship partially. Tony and Nebula have spent all their time in space feeling sorry for themselves. Tony says in his message that they've also been working hard to repair the ship in an attempt to make it back to Earth. The fuel cells were damaged at some point, but in the clip we saw Tony say they've managed to fix things up well enough in order to get back in 2 days of flight time from the battled vessel. Given that they are light years away from the nearest 7-Eleven, Tony puts it, we're not sure how much that's going to help them. So it is pretty interesting. Tony and Nebula are bored, as we kind of see in this interesting information. The song title that appears is Dear Mr. Fancy by Traffic. I'm not too familiar with their work, but that's pretty cool. So Tony expects that he's going to die. Iron Man and Nebula have clearly done their best to survive. Tony's wounds are healing, and they've tried to repair the ship, but at the end of the message, Tony reveals he doesn't expect to survive. They're about to run out of oxygen, and the ship is still in poor shape. He signs off with an extremely sad prediction that he'd drift into death whilst thinking of Pepper. But come on, dudes, this was the first trailer, so it is obvious that a version of Tony makes it out of this. I mean, I still think it would be cool if they killed him at the start of the movie, because no one would be expecting that. And also, it came out that apparently they didn't have Tom Holland in the press tour for Endgame. They dusted him so he couldn't spoil anything in the press tour, because at the moment, no one that is dusted is going to be at the press tour, but they all probably will be at the LA premiere, so that's kind of irrelevant if you ask me. Nebula makes it back to Earth for this scene. The next scene we saw likely isn't a coincidence with the first. In other words, there are some things in between that we missed that's clear. Considering the scene featured Nebula on Earth with Steve, Nat, War Machine, Rocket, Thor, and Bruce that lead up the moment above, which we previously glimpsed in one of the Endgame trailers, it seems to be shortly after Captain Marvel's arrival. Right before this, Nebula is present during a conversation about taking the fight to Thanos. Although Tony's absent, the scene is quite puzzling. No, I think what's happening here is literally Tony will be back on Earth then, and Tony and Ant-Man think it's absolutely ridiculous and won't even go with them. Captain Marvel is very confident she can defeat Thanos. The remaining Avengers quickly learn one thing about Carol Danvers. She is extremely confident. Well, she took out Ronan, the Accuser's whole fleet. So why wouldn't she be? Why wouldn't she be? She would be so confident. Why aren't we fighting him already? And when Bruce wonders aloud why it should turn out differently from the last time with the Mad Titan, she answers that they have her. So some of the footage we've already seen. It was a trailer that was released earlier, I think late last week. Nebula knows where Thanos is. Carol may be the ace up their sleeves. But they have another advantage too. Nebula knows where Thanos is, and far better, she reveals to remaining Avengers, including Captain Marvel, that he is in the garden on a distant planet. Wow. The stones aren't used up yet, as it's been revealed already in this trailer that we got, that they've used the stone, that someone's used the stones again. Maybe Thanos has used the stones to summon up some kind of people to help him. Maybe the Chari, maybe the Outriders. He's probably summoned someone to help him, or else it would just be a bit pointless to have Thanos taken out, like having a 1v10. That would be pretty lame. The Avengers will take the fight to Thanos early in the movie, so literally we do know the opening scene. So when people are like, yeah, we've only seen footage from the first 20 minutes, I think it's a pretty good indication that yes, we actually have mainly seen footage from the first 20 minutes. So let's do a little recap. So there's been exactly 22 days from Infinity War to Endgame, which from a Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff hair growth point of view, that can't happen. So she's obviously got a wig, or they've miscalculated how much hair can grow in the space of 3 weeks. Not very much. The first scene takes place on the Benatar, the Guardians of the Galaxy ship that's now being operated by Tony Stark and Nebula. The ship was partially repaired after taking a beating in Infinity War. Nebula has also patched Tony up after his fight with Thanos, but he still thinks he's going to die, and he still could die because we don't see Tony. Yes, we've seen Tony in later trailers walking with the Quantum Realm suit, the white space suits, but we don't see Tony going with the Avengers. Yeah, sure, we see him standing in the kind of the scene where it looks like the Avengers are about to assemble, but that scene is fake. You see Natasha holding her arm like she's just been hurt. So we don't actually technically see the time frame of when Tony Stark is coming back. It's also worth noting that people that were at this venue did say this. Just got out of 8 minutes of Avengers Endgame preview. Looks like the film would start in a way we definitely weren't expecting. Even in a little bit of footage we saw, there were some great character moments and emotion. Avengers Endgame, don't spoil the Endgame. So guys, if you have watched the movie, don't spoil the Endgame. Yes, on this channel, we do go over spoilers, we do go over plot leaks, we do go over stuff like that. But if we know the information is 100 gazillion% true, we would never ruin your experience. We're not about ruining things. But if something's already out in the public, I will talk about it. So I'm not going to ruin anyone's experience for Endgame. Don't worry, whenever I watch it, I'll do the review after the embargo is lifted, or whenever I watch it, and it will be a non-spoiler review, and then we do a spoiler review, but I will give you some time to watch it first before, and I won't be putting anything that happens in the title. So don't worry, guys. I know sometimes you guys get triggered, but sometimes it's interesting because mostly plot leaks, you can't tell if it's true or not. So we only cover stuff if we know it's 100% not true. I mean, this article I'm reading from inverse.com, it does imply, well, the title is this: Avengers Endgame opening scene features reveals a possible deadly twist. I mean, that is such a hype title. But courtesy to GameSpot, pretty cool. I will leave a link down below if I remember. Should do. But yeah, it doesn't really reveal much, to be honest, guys. Sorry about that. It literally doesn't reveal anything that you couldn't have already guessed for yourself, except for the fact that Nebula patched up Tony Stark, which is a pretty cool, sweet number. I didn't realize she was a qualified doctor, but it is pretty interesting. And also the fact that Tom Holland got dusted, Spider-Man got dusted because they can't trust him with any secrets, is hilarious. So like always, guys, let me know in the comment box down below what you think. If you do want to enter any of the competitions, just let me know down below. Subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and hopefully one day we can hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. That would be awesome. Really want to do that. Growth is really slow at the moment, but hopefully it can pick up. I know I've got some loyal squads here. But like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.